Good afternoon, everybody. I am joined today. Governor Cuomo is here, and welcome you all on behalf of a press conference on the issue of marriage equality. Behind me in the audience represents the support of all 29 members of the Democratic Conference of the State Senate. I'm going to go through the program first, make some comments, and then we'll start. You'll be hearing today, after I make opening comments, Senate Majority Leader John Sampson, followed by Senator Addabbo, followed by Senator Huntley, followed by Senator Krueger, by Senator Duane, who then introduces Governor Cuomo. We are here today recognizing that the Senate Minority Conference, Democratic Conference, has 29 members are supporting marriage equality. This is an issue that Governor Cuomo has made one of his top priorities for the state. This is an issue of civil rights and civil law. It is not an issue of faith or religion. It is about ensuring that the rights of all New Yorkers are there, and the rights of same-sex couples in the current law are not protected. They are not afforded the same rights as other couples. And the governor has led a tremendous effort to bring support to really change this state. And it's about leadership, it's about courage, about standing up for what is right for the state. So it makes me very, very proud to serve in his administration, to be part of this. It makes me very proud to be part of this conference today. So I'd like to next bring up the leader of the Democratic Conference, Senator John Sampson.
Thank you very much, President Duffy. We have missed you on the rostrum these last few weeks, but I look forward to seeing you preside over that very important vote when there is a passage of marriage equality. There are some who doubted we would get there. On December 2nd, 2009, after consulting with the advocates and my members, I brought marriage equality for a vote for the first time in the history of the New York State Senate. Some would say we failed that day. But for those New Yorkers who dedicated their lives to the pursuit of equality, the fight was not lost that day. It had just begun. As I've said before, for every setback, there is a comeback. So even in the face of deep disappointment, we chose to believe and we decided to fight back. Today, the comeback continues. We are 3 steps closer, and I repeat, 3 steps closer to equality for all New Yorkers, and we have 3 left to go. This is a moment in history we can all be proud of. I hope our Republican colleagues will join us on the right side of history and give the votes needed to the final passage of marriage equality and make it law. We are joined by 3 members who have thought long and hard about marriage and who have made the decision to vote for equality. It wasn't an easy choice for any one of them because things change, but it's very difficult because it changes over time. But based on the courage of their decision, we are now closer than we have ever been to renewing and restarting New York's legacy of activism, leadership, and advocacy. We are at the doorstep of passing marriage equality to ensure human rights are inalienable rights for all New Yorkers. And while I'm not a prophet, I'm an eternal optimist, and I am confident that we will get the rest of the way. I want to thank 3 of my colleagues, Senator Addabbo, Senator Shirley Huntley, and Senator Carl Krueger, for their courage. Over the past year, I have had deep personal conversations with each one of them about this bill. I know the journey they have gone through was not easy, but nothing that truly matters is ever easy. You have my personal thanks for trusting me and your colleagues with your support for this historic legislation. Today would not have been possible without the support and strong leadership of Governor Andrew Cuomo, who this time doesn't have to tug on my jacket. He has made passing marriage equality a personal commitment and deserves the credit for continuing to push for its passage. The governor and I have had many conversations about marriage equality, and his commitment to getting this done is nothing short of extraordinary. Governor, it's my hope our actions will send a strong message and signal to all New Yorkers that we are ready for equality here in New York State. I would like to thank a few people. I would like to thank the Gill Foundation, the Empire State Pride Agenda, the Human Rights Campaign, Marriage Equality New York, and all the others who have been our partners in reaching this moment. I also want to thank Mayor Bloomberg and Council Speaker Christine Quinn, who's in the crowd, and you have truly been a champion on this issue. And saving the best for last, I would like to thank my dear friend and my colleague, Senator Tom Dwayne. No one in the Senate has done more than Tom Dwayne to lead the fight for equality, the fight for dignity, the fight for gender, the HIV rent cap, or funding for research and health programs. He has truly been our moral compass, the champion of the least, the last, and the lost. Anyone who has heard Tom speak knows he doesn't just change votes, he changes hearts and minds. He has changed the way we work together, the way we see each other, and the way we respect and love one another. I am proud to call him my friend, and in the fight for marriage equality, my leader. Tom, where you at? I want to thank you very much. I'm proud to stand here today as we take 3 more steps towards equality that I hope will provide the momentum for that final leap we need to deliver equality for all New Yorkers. And now, I would like to present my dear friend, my colleague, Senator Joe Adavo. Senator.
Good afternoon. First, let me thank all the advocates on both sides of the issue for their time as they sat down with me and discussed their position on this issue. As I try to keep an open mind, and certainly always said that I'll take my personal views out of this issue as I listen to everyone. So I want to thank them, and I also want to express to you what I had said to each one of them, and this is for every advocate who spoke to me about the issue, that for me, my vote was about one thing, my people in my district. Back in 2009, when I had said no on this issue, I felt and truly believed even now that I had what I thought was a consensus of my district at that time. Roughly 400 people had called me, emailed me, and contacted me in various ways, and 73% at that time, I felt, wanted me to vote no. But 2 years later, it's a different story. The advocates on both sides of this issue were very active in my district. And in the end, when Governor Cuomo asked me, "Where are you?" I said, "Let me tally it up, and I will tell you where I am at this point, based on the input from my people." And as of Friday, 6,015 people had weighed in on this issue. And in the end, 4,839 people wanted me to vote yes. So in the end, that is my vote. To represent the people of the 15th District, which was what I said I would do when I raised my right hand and took that oath, was represent them as their voice here in Albany. So when this issue comes for a vote before the chambers, I will vote yes based on the voice of my people. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As I listened to Joe Adabo speak in reference to the survey, if you remember in 2009, I did a survey. Survey came back, I voted no. I did my own survey again. I even did telephone survey. And I can tell you that the numbers had changed. It was 60-40. So based on those numbers, with such a large number of constituents in favor of marriage equality, that is the reason I decided to vote for it. So I'm here today to support marriage equality. When the bill comes up, I will be voting yes. Thank you.
God bless you. Yes, I'm next up to bat. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I have come to lend my support to marriage equality, and I do it for a myriad number of reasons. Not because I took a poll, not because I took a scientific sample, but rather I kept an open mind, what I viewed to be a pure heart, and a keen ear as to the advocates on both sides of this issue. No one was more succinct in delivering a message than my good friend and partner in government, Tom Dwayne. And over these last months, what he did in a very clear and compelling way was point out to me the difference between right and wrong, the difference between what it meant to be an advocate for an agenda that was purely a question of rights, rights of individuals to choose the kind of lifestyle that they wanted to choose. And he pointed out to me over these last 18 years that I've been in this Senate, things like gender-neutral pricing and tenant advocacy and employment rights and HIV, drug programs were always part of my agenda. So why would I stop now? And I had no clear answer for that. So I've spoken to a lot of people at the Gill Foundation, people at the Pride Agenda, people on both sides of the aisle, as well as those that are opposed to it. And on a personal note, I believe that today this is an evolutionary process. What we're about to do is redefine what the American family is. And that's a good thing. Because as you know, the world around us evolves and changes, so do we have to change with it. So as my universe becomes broader, as my view of the world changes, so should ours as we go forward. We go forward with an agenda of rights and equality, an agenda that says that we as individuals are going to respect those countless New Yorkers that depend upon us to do the right thing by them. And the right thing to do is to support the governor, to support my leader, John Sampson, the 28 other colleagues that are part of the Democratic Conference that I'm proud to be part of. And hopefully there are three brave people on the other side of the aisle that are willing to stand up. And when they stand up, then we will have changed the course of destiny for all New Yorkers. Because on that day, once again, this Empire State can say with confidence and with clarity that the rights of every New Yorker, it's not about anyone, it's about everyone. Thank you.
Thomas.
Thank you. I'd like to thank John Sampson for his leadership on this issue, for everything he has done in the fight for marriage. And I wanted to thank all of my Democratic Senate colleagues who were here and voted yes when given the chance, and the new members who ran on a platform where they said they would vote yes. I am proud to be among you. I'm also very moved and touched and just personally gratified that the three senators who spoke up, Joe Adabo from my home county and Shirley Huntley, who I love, and Carl Kruger, who is not my political friend, though he's politically my friend. He's my personal friend. And so thank you, everyone. I really am proud to stand with you. I also want to thank all of the advocates. The names of the organizations have been said, and I also, though, I have to give a special thank you to my friend Christine Quinn for coming to Albany all the time, and HRC and ESPN, Marriage Equality, and all of the activists and the people who phone banked. And of course, the vote hasn't happened, the victory hasn't happened yet, but they all get gold stars for the incredible work that they did. You know, at the moment, the vast majority of votes in favor of marriage come from the Democratic Conference, and clearly it is time to bring it home. And there is no one who has fought harder, who has fought for my right to get married, for so many people to have the ability to get married in our state. No one has fought with more heart and soul, goes without saying, with intelligence and drive, but maybe especially heart and soul, than our wonderful leader, Governor Cuomo, who I can't say it enough. It is time to bring it home. And Governor Cuomo, thank you for everything that you have done in this journey to bring it on home. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank Lieutenant Governor Bob Duffy, Senator John Sampson, and congratulate him on this great feat of unity with the conference. Senator Kruger, Senator Adabo, and Senator Shirley Huntley. We've had many conversations over the past few weeks talking through this issue. It's a difficult issue, as you know, and listening to them speak, especially Joe and Shirley, by its nature, this is an evolutionary issue. The feelings, the sentiments in their districts changed. I'm sure of it. Why? Because feelings all across the state, all across the nation, are changing. And they're changing rapidly. They're changing as people get more information. They're changing as the fear subsides. Feelings are changing as other states are moving ahead of us. Feelings are changing as younger people are getting more and more involved in the political process, and they have a more expansive outlook at times. So the people in their districts have changed. They represent their districts. As the people change, their positions change. And I respect them for that, and I applaud them for that. Senator Tom Duane, who has been championing this fight for more years than many of us can remember. It's obviously a personal crusade for Tom, and it has been an incredibly difficult crusade for Tom. The vote 2 years ago, the attempted vote 2 years ago, that did not work out well. I know Tom personally, and I know it personally took a terrible toll on him. And I hope today serves as a small respite from that, to be standing here with all his fellow Democrats, 29 out of 30 Democrats. That's not so shabby. And a big factor is the respect for Tom and Tom's leadership, and I want to recognize that also. This is a very significant development. Comes at a very important time. We're right down to it. We're the last week. And this is a big change. And this is going to generate a lot of momentum. I'm going to be meeting with the group of advisors who we've been working with through this effort, and see if they're now of the opinion that we should advance legislation and send up a bill, which would then have the Senate and the Assembly take up a bill. We'll be having that conversation this afternoon, and we'll make that decision. We are not home yet, as Tom said. There is still more to do. Those of you who follow the issues in Albany, I say, until you're over the goal line, you're nowhere, right? This is great progress. We're making progress. We're moving towards the goal line. It's a remarkable step, but we're not there yet. We do need the Republicans in the Senate to take up this issue. I believe the momentum that this will generate, the positive feeling, is going to be a powerful force through this last week. I believe it couldn't come at a better time. I believe the job that the advocates have done here has been extraordinary. They have been coordinated. They have been unified. They have been purposeful. They've been communicating information, and I can tell you that they've had an effect. I've been talking to legislators on this for weeks, and the presentations, the information they're getting really has made a difference. So I applaud all of them. We'll keep our fingers crossed. It's going to be this week or not. We'll make a decision on whether or not to move a bill, but big congratulations to the members of this conference. Again, 29 out of 30 is a powerful, powerful statement, and it should be. This is an issue of social justice, in my opinion. This is an issue of social progress, and the Democratic Party has always stood firmly on the side of social progress and rooting out injustice. And I'm proud to be the governor of a state where the Democratic Party has stood up this strong and this powerfully for progress to lead this state forward. Thank you again for our members today. Any questions or comments? Myself or any of the other members? Michael?
Governor, would you be announcing today your decision on whether to put a bill in or not?
We're going to have a meeting. We're actually over time on the meeting. We're going to have a meeting right after this, Michael, and we're going to discuss that topic. The group will make a decision, and then I'm sure we'll make that decision public.
Greg Ball, one of the fence sitters on the Republican side, has talked about wanting to see religious exemptions beyond just that clergy wouldn't have to perform ceremony. Has there been any discussions of a bill containing that?
No.
You can get the bill passed without it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Religious exemption?
What do you mean by that?
He's talked about, and he says he's spoken about it with you and your staff, things such as Knights of Columbus halls of church, exemption for Knights of Columbus halls of
No.
churches.
No.
Halls,
I don't know. No. Jimmy?
You met earlier this morning with Senator Skelos. Did you talk to him about the marriage bill? Did you mention that you were going to have 29 Democrats supporting it? What did he say?
I met with Senator Skelos this morning. We talked about a number of issues, the outstanding issues for the legislative session. This is one of the issues we talked about, and I talked about what my plans were.
Is this in any way tied to the push by many of these Democrats to renew and strengthen rent regulations?
No. I mean, we believe in renewing and strengthening rent regulations. I don't know where marriage equality connects with that.
Governor, has been any progress in forging an agreement on rent regulations?
Yes.
The Senate has introduced a bill as a temporary extension for a couple of days. Is that acceptable?
That's so it doesn't expire, right, Guy? That's so it doesn't expire. Right. It doesn't matter. I'd sign an extension for a couple of days while we're working out a deal.
Are you considering in your bill draft on same-sex marriage any sort of accommodation or exemption for religious institutions as far as holding gay weddings or observing gay unions? Is there anything in the bill as you see it being drafted that would try to accommodate those concerns?
There are concerns that can be addressed in the law, which I believe are currently in the law. This is not a religious matter. We're not talking about religious marriages. This is a civil law question. It's a civil marriage. So we can help make that clear. But you also have anti-discrimination laws. You also have SANDA that this legislature passed. So that's the other side. But in terms of when you say religious exceptions, if it's that this is not a religious marriage, then yes, it's not a religious marriage.
Governor, do you feel that Senate Republicans would vote for this if they were given the opportunity to just vote freely on their conscience rather than perhaps a party line vote?
I believe, Joe, the votes will be there for marriage equality if the vote happens. I believe the votes are there. I've had enough conversations with enough legislators. I believe the votes are there.
So are you confident that the Senate Republicans would let that vote to the floor where they could vote on their conscience rather than party line?
I don't know what the Senate Republicans are going to do. You'd have to ask the Senate Republicans. But do I believe the votes would be there to pass marriage equality? Yes. We also have to talk to the group and make sure they feel that and that they want to go ahead and send up the bill, which they have not wanted to do up until now, right? So it's a two-step process. The advocacy group, the representatives of the community, we're going to meet today, talk about the situation, compare notes, make a decision whether or not we want to send up the bill. If we send up the bill, and if the Republican conference takes up the bill and actually votes on the bill, I believe the votes will be there at the end of the day.
Tell us a little bit about some of the personal lobbying efforts you've done over the last couple of months in talking to the Democratic senators who are here and some of the Republican senators who remain on the side.
Nick, there's no one conversation. I think that's the most notable fact. People have different feelings. People have different opinions on both sides. Some people have religious issues. Some people have political issues. Some people are confused about it. So I've had a vast array of different conversations on this issue.
Governor, will you campaign against individual Senate Republicans on this issue if they refuse to allow it to come to a vote or fail to provide the votes needed to pass it.
I have campaigned for this issue in my campaign. I support people who support this issue. You have to look at a person in the totality, but I support people who support this issue. I don't believe I ever oppose the person on any one issue, Fred.
So you would not necessarily then oppose them next year if they kill it this year?
Would I oppose an individual because an individual voted no just on this issue? I think it would depend on what the totality of circumstances would be.
Governor, you say that Senator Skelos hasn't even assured you that he'll bring the issue to the floor?
Well, by definition, he couldn't, because I haven't asked him to.
Well, you said at different points you wanted to come to the floor. Senator Skelos said he would bring it to conference, but in your conversations, he hasn't.
No, we never sent. I want to be clear on this. We never sent up a bill, right? You guys wrote about this. We never sent up a bill. We have a group, which is a coordinating group for this effort. Why? Because one of the problems we believe last time was the effort wasn't as coordinated as it needed to be. So we've put together a group. They're working together. They're very coordinated. We're on one page. We said we didn't want to ask for a vote if we were going to lose. So we were very judicious, and we are judicious, about asking for the vote by sending up a bill. And we wanted to make sure we had the vote so we were as comfortable as you can be, right? Nobody really knows until a person actually votes. But sometimes handshakes mean something. Press conferences mean something. So we said we would compare notes. We're going to do that today after this development. Then we would send up the bill. Once we send up the bill, which will be the first request to the Republican Senate to please take up the bill, right? Then we'll see what they say. They could say yes. They could say no. They could say, come up with issues why they don't want to. But we don't know. But I haven't, heretofore, I have not asked for them to take up the bill.
So, Governor, right now, what is your message to Senate Republicans?
Right now?
What is your message?
I believe they should support marriage equality. You're looking at 29 out of 30 Democrats. You're looking at a state where 60% of the people of this state support marriage equality. 60% represent the people of the state. You heard how Senator Addabbo said, I took a poll, and I looked at what the people in my district want, and that's what I'm doing. Shirley said, I did a survey, and the people of my district say they want marriage equality, and that's what I'm doing. 60% of the people want marriage equality. Maybe not in every district, higher in some districts, lower in other districts, but 60% of the people in this state want marriage equality. The state Senate represents the people of the state. Represent the people of the state. Pass marriage equality. 5 other states have had it. This was a state that had a long tradition and legacy of being at the forefront of social justice issues, leading the way for social justice issues. The women's movement, the environmental movement, the gay rights movement, they all started here. And we should pass this, and we should pass it now. That's what I'm going to say. Officially, and more specifically, after the meeting with the advocates, if we make the decision to send up the bill, then I'll specifically be saying, here's the bill, please vote.
Governor, how does this differ from the bills that have passed, failed, and been appealed in California?
The bills are all a little different. Obviously, the commonality would be allowing of the marriage. There are some exception differences in the California bills. I don't expect those to be a bone of contention here.
Governor, just to follow that, will this bill be the exact same bill as the 2009?
Roughly.
What kind of changes?
Roughly. Well, that's a conversation I'm going to have with the advocates now.
One of the questions from Senate Republicans is they might lose Conservative Party support if they support this, and that's one of the concerns we've heard. What have you been saying to senators who are concerned about losing that 4 last year, one solely because of that third-party line?
I say represent the people. Represent the people, not the party leaders. Vote your conscience, not your fears. 60% of the people of this state support it. Represent the people of the state. Well, the Conservative Party leaders may take it out against me. You're not there to represent the Conservative Party leaders. You're there to represent the people of your district and vote your conscience. It's a matter of principle. Vote principle, not politics. Sir?
Last question.
Kyle Hughes here. Am I understanding correctly that the advocates are going to have the final say on whether this bill gets put out? That you will not put it out unless the advocates tell you to put it out?
We've had this conversation for many weeks. I don't know why you sound surprised. This was a joint decision. This is a vote that had been taken before. It failed. It caused a lot of pain to a lot of people. Some would say it embarrassed the state when it failed. So we said we would work in a coordinated way. Different people get different information from different sources. You've had a very robust campaign. You have dozens of people who have worked full time to put this together. Obviously, at the end of the day, the only person who can send up a bill or not is me. We understand that. But their advice, their input, their feeling weighs very heavily in this process, and I wanted to speak with them.
Governor, you said earlier, if it's not now, it's not happening. So you wouldn't bring it up, you wouldn't go through this again next year in an election year. So if the Republicans don't do this now, we're talking about at least 2 years?
When did I say I wouldn't do this next year?
You said if not now, then it's not happening. That's what I'm trying to clarify.
I think this is a moment I think we are very, very strong right now. And I think we have a lot of momentum. And I think this is an optimum time to bring this vote. Next year is an election year. Funny things happen in an election year. So if we can get it done this year, I think this is the optimum moment.
Governor, to clarify, what roughly are the changes you're going to be making to the bill as it's introduced in the Assembly?
I'm going to speak to the advocates first. We'll have the discussion, and then I'll report back to you after that meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to the senators who announced their vote today. Thank you.